Some more of the same, Charlie. Well,
ready? Hit it.
And now, here he is, a man of God, living in a world of Disney.
Ouch, Charlie!
Charlie Simons.
Charlie bit me.
Well, hello, my friend. Welcome to the Big Old Bad Old Broadcast. Yeah, I am Charlie Simons, your host here on Do Not Talk. Talk about things you're never supposed to talk about, politics and religion. Talking to the people I'm not supposed to talk to. According to people in my own party, even, I'm not supposed to talk to those people. Quit it. Of course I'm going to. Went to, speaking of people you're not supposed to talk to, California Republican Party just seems to despise new California state folks. Because they want to split it up. They want to say, forget it. We're done. We're starting our own thing. Thank you very much. And it's been done before. We got a history of it. North, South Carolina, North, South Dakota, Virginia, West Virginia, states saying, you know, you're not representing the majority of us. You've just figured out a way to corner the vote and to continue in your ridiculous power. It almost always seems to be on the left. People with common sense saying, that's it. We've had enough. We quit. We're split. We divorced you. We're starting our own thing. That's exactly what the new California state people are doing. I just went to one of their events recently. I got this flag there. I love this. In democracy, restore the republic. Boy, you want to see a leftist freak out? Explain to them how we're not a democracy. They really hate that, but yet they continue calling us that, even though that is not what we are. Happy 250th birthday, United States of America, land of the free because of the brave. I feel blessed and honored, and I thank the Lord that I was born in the United States of America, and I hope you feel the same way. This truly is the greatest nation in the history of the world. Never has one little old citizen had more sway and influence over how their life and their nation is going to head just with their one vote. That's why I'm always hammering at election integrity and making sure we have free and fair elections, not the fraudulent wasteland that we have now, especially in California. It's very bad. Arthur Schaper is on the show, and that's what we're going to talk about. What happened in California? The not just the midterms coming up in November, but as I've said 1,000 times on this show, elections are won and lost in California in the primary, and we don't show up for the primaries. We on the right, we suck at it. We're dismal. It's in the teens. We had a better turnout this time, and because of that, we were able to get Steve Hilton in. But Steve Hilton was endorsed by President Trump. He's running for governor of California, right? This big election coming up this November, this year. And even if we got a Republican governor in, so what? We need Michael Gates in there as Attorney General. We need Herb Morgan in as Controller. We need Donna Wagner, Secretary of State. We need all of these other offices to be held by conservatives, or Governor Hilton won't be able to get anything done. Trust me on that. We went through it. We watched it happen to Arnold Schwarzenegger, a standalone basically. And there were more Republicans in the legislature of California then, 18, 19, 20 years ago now. Good heavens, 20, how many? It was like 2023, 24? I mean, 04, not 24. Good heavens. It's been 20 years since Arnold Schwarzenegger waltzed in his Austrian waltz, bringing his strudel and screw your freedom. And if you want to live, get to the chopper. I watched that guy try and get some stuff done. In the beginning, I thought he had some great ideas. Of course, he was stealing them all from Scott Walker, who was then governor of Wisconsin. And every single one of them failed. And that was, I mean, he had special elections and everything. It cost us a lot of money. He was trying to save the state from financial ruin because of all the nice little cushy retirements that the government employee unions had garnered for their members. Not sustainable. And we're seeing it now. We're paying for it. The state's broke. Regardless of what they tell you, they're liars. You should know that by now. I shouldn't have to tell you that. You know that. How do we come back from that? I don't know. We didn't do all that well in the primary, but I'm going to talk to Arthur about that. In the meantime, it's so fun to me watching the Democrats, the leftists, the freaks, that side do completely stupid things to each other, like this past weekend.
Spent the day removing paint and repairing damage left behind after San Francisco police clashed with marchers at Friday's Trans March. Workers power washed the former Whole Foods building at Market and 8th Streets, and ABC7 also spotted vandalism on another building nearby at Market and 7th. Now, police officers say that they were trying to arrest suspected vandals when others in the crowd ended up intervening. Authorities say one person was assaulted and 2 officers suffered minor injuries. 5 people were arrested.
Oh, here's
Those
the best
people
part.
don't represent our community. I know that there are people in our community that are angry, but I hope that we don't express it that way anymore for the rest of the weekend.
I'm guessing that's a dude. Not quite sure, just guessing.
San Francisco police released a statement on the incident, writing, quote, "The SFPD will always protect the First Amendment right to peacefully protest. Criminal activity will not be tolerated."
Fantastic. Just end it there. That's enough for your press release. Good job. Got it. You can go ahead and protest peacefully. We're all for that. Don't just don't start acting like idiots. Okay. End of press. End of statement, right?
We remain unwavering in our support of the LGBTQ plus community and are committed to protecting and serving every community in San Francisco.
Okay, got it. So you're going to protect the homos too, as well as everybody else. I don't know if you had to say that, but I get it. You're sucking up to them. That's what that is right there.
State Senator Scott Wiener says public harassment prevented him from fully participating in Friday's Trans March.
This is the best part right here.
We have a huge fight on our hands, our community, and particularly trans people, and we need to be unified in fighting that fight. So it was.
Anyone else find it odd that he's talking about such a serious matter, but he's doing it with a little grin? They always have their little smile going on, don't they?
Tragic that this happened, but ultimately I decided it did not make sense for me to stay.
Wiener, a longtime advocate for LGBTQ plus rights, says a group of demonstrators confronted him at Dolores Park over his views on the war in Gaza. He says he felt unsafe when they swarmed him and started harassing him both verbally and physically. The incident comes just days after the senator says he was aggressively confronted by a man at a Mission District bar. Wiener tells ABC7 he has no problem engaging with constituents who disagree with him, but he says the increasing volume of hostile encounters between politicians and citizens are a concerning trend.
It degrades the democratic process. It dissuades good people from running for office because they just don't want to deal with it and they don't want to subject their family to it.
Oh, good. Don't run for office then.
Wiener wanted to note that the majority of his interactions with constituents are positive and civil. He is running against Supervisor Connie Chan in the November race for San Francisco's next member of Congress to replace Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi.
Okay. I'd love to show you what happened when they swarmed their wiener. They swarmed their own wiener. The wiener that they've always loved, the wiener that they keep propping up. Pardon the expression. The wiener that they keep voting for. That's our wiener. There's our wiener. There goes our wiener. Look at our wiener. We love our wiener. No, they turned on them this past weekend. They accosted their wiener. They swarmed their wiener. They physically attacked their wiener. I mean, like bumping, pushing, shoving. They cussed at their wiener. A lot. I saw the video. So then I tried to find it so I could show it to you. Guess what I couldn't find on YouTube or really anywhere else? Suddenly that video's MIA of the trans homos attacking their own wiener. Sorry, I can't show it to you, but trust me, it was awesome. Art, I got to get Arthur in here. I forget what that quote is about. Let them Just if your enemy's destroying themselves, just stand back and let them do it. Is it something like that? I don't know. I'll ask him. Ready? Hit it.
Oh, brother, I tried to keep it together. All the stuff about Creepy Scott. I don't even want to say his last name. He's just such a creep. Oh man,
that is one creepy wiener. He,
as we speak, I'm looking for that video. I saw it on X. The stuff on X does not get taken down. So I'm trying to do 16 things at once. But
I got you. I appreciate it. My problem is my computer setup. I can't air that stuff. I tried to share screen things before, and it's always turned out to be very bad. So I capture it, and I can capture it off YouTube, but I can't capture it off Rumble. Can't capture it off TikTok or X.
So I want to do like 16 things at once because I was so excited when you started talking about the new California movement. And I got this wonderful gift when I was in Siskiyou County, state of Jefferson, baby, right here.
Oh, that's what started it all.
This is it.
Those are the folks that started it all. And I thought it was a great idea. But constitutionally, there was some, there you go. Constitutionally, there were some problems.
So not California, not Canada would be our 51st state, but Jefferson would be our 51st state.
Yeah, I'm holding out hope because other than that, I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel, my friend.
And it's such a great topic right there. And I think as California and Illinois and New York, as they descend into economic chaos and just complete budgetary oblivion, they're going to be in such debt. They're going to need help. And I think the leverage that Washington can use on them is to say, okay, we'll help you out, but you're going to have to break up the state.
Well, that's how they've gotten it. I hope so. Because Paul Preston is the one that's really spearheading New California State. And if you want more info, I would suggest you go to newcaliforniastate.com and just check that out. And if you're a Californian like Art and I are, you're going to read that. You're going to look at that and you're going to go, the time has come for 51.
We need to do this. I mean, it's West Virginia is the last time that a section seceded away or formed a different state. And that it took a civil war to do that. I hope it doesn't have to be a similar, uproar in order for new states. But a fiscal crisis is pretty close. And that's in the card. So that's the first thing. I just had to get that out there. I got my wonderful shirt. Love Siskiyou County. I'm still very much an urban person, but I, love visiting when I can. Say hi to Debbie Bacigalupi for me. She's great. She was in the Bay Area when she ran for Congress. I know she's in Siskiyou. Her mom and dad.
I have not heard that name in so long. Bacigalupi, yes.
That's it. And I always called her, so that's the first person. Everybody's got to look her up. She's been fighting the big green fight, fighting Agenda 21. Fighting to protect the dams, fighting to protect the forestries, fighting to protect what really makes California great, which is this beautiful green environment that we were given, and you don't need the state to protect it. That's the first thing. All the stuff you talked about with 250, I made it. We made it. Happy 250th. I even got myself an ornament today. I got it at Hobby Lobby. I just wanted to share this with everybody. There you go. Happy 250th. There it is. Trying to get used to my camera here. Happy 250th. Very excited
waving.
There we go. I plan to be here for 300. I'm planning for that. You can be sure of that. Okay, God promises us 120 years, and I won't even be 100. I'm looking forward to 300 years. We're going to make it. This is very exciting. I am very confident. The fundamentals of our nation are strong. Yes, we're facing hard times. Yes, we're facing difficulties. We have an overarching government. I talked about this multiple times over the last few weeks on other shows. President Trump has taken an axe to the LBJ Great Society scam more than any president, even more than Reagan has. That is huge. We must not ignore that. Yes, the spending hasn't stopped, but that's a structural problem that voters need to wake up about, and they're going to. I guarantee it. When we got the Gen Xers hitting 65 plus, and they see that the feds can't pay the Social Security payments, you're going to see all hell properly break loose. I see things changing. If Argentina can change, if Colombia can change, if you see, I know you're going to see Ukraine change. I know it can happen here. We're going to have a long republic. I'm very confident of that. Starting
Nationally,
with
yes. Nationally, yes. California-wise, no. You're far more confident in our fellow Californians than I am.
What's going to see, it's going to be an intervention is going to be needed. I mean, what I'm saying, California is broke, and it's going to be broker when they push that billion. If that billionaire's tax passes, you watch, everybody is going to flee. There will be no money left. It'll be nothing but anarchy and degradation. It'll be a very sad day.
2028 presidential nominee Gavin Newsom, at least in his dreams, that's what he's pushing for.
Oh, Gavin Newsom.
He is taking a stand against the billionaire tax.
Oh no, he changed his mind a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and the reason why,
but he's amended it. He's well, let's do this. Maybe let's make it this and do so. He's trying to negotiate back and forth because he realizes more than half the population of the state of California are too stupid about economics to realize the catastrophe that awaits them if they follow through with this. And they're going to force it through whether we like it or not. It's not going to come up for a vote in November.
And here's the main thing. It's like, no matter how crazy leftist an executive becomes, they have to be the adult in the room. They have to. Everything falls apart. It's going to fall on them. And here's the other thing. Gavin Newsom he's got the Democratic Socialists of America. They're nipping at his heels. You saw Tom Steyer and his progressive leftist quasi-communist campaign had a really good chance there. And he had a lot of support from the Bernie people. He had a lot of support from the DSA acolytes in Los Angeles. He didn't make it because everybody swarmed behind Becerra. And I just got to get this off my chest. We didn't have a chance at the last session. We have so much to cover today, but I just got to say again, Chad Bianco should be the nominee. I am going to vote for Hilton. I am a team player. I read I skimmed his book, Califailure. I'll talk about that briefly, but Bianco, California, well, he was born in Utah, but he was very much a part of this state. 33 years law enforcement, real leadership, real accomplishment, and people were just, I would have to say, even now, I'm more confused. A month has passed that people could go along with Hilton, but I guess it comes down to a smart media campaign, being out there a lot. I can't ignore that. Bianco did not go to every debate. That was an issue. I was kind of surprised. I look back on it. He should have gone to every debate, not just after the March 3rd cutoff date.
Candidate Steve Hilton was on my show twice. Chad Bianco looked me straight in the eye and promised he'd be on the show, and then they never followed through. His wife, his campaign manager, all of them. Oh, write them. Oh, here's their phone number. Here's their contact. Here's their personal email. I want to get on your show. Never happened. It was a poorly run campaign. I hate to say it, because I admire the man like you. He was running one of the largest sheriff's departments in the nation at night and campaigning during the day. I don't know when he slept or I don't know how he did it. It was quite incredible to watch. Steve Hilton, on the other hand, got a very wealthy wife, and let's go. We're going to canvass the state. Fantastic. Which is what you have to do now. Which is what you have to do. There is nobody's giving any common sense thought to anything anymore.
And I got to say this on Hilton's behalf. He is articulate. He is well-spoken. He has a very good command of messaging. I can't ignore that. That is a fact. He was very smart to set up a dream team, a golden ticket.
And he was fun to talk to on my show. I enjoyed talking with him.
He talked to you, and he talked to me. I got to remind everybody. And I was on the Bianco team. I confronted him about the reparation stuff. He came to me and said, "I know you're supporting Chad. What should I do differently?" And you know what? I can't dismiss that. He came to me and said, "I know you don't support me. What should I do differently?" I have that. I don't have that video. My camera's off by then, but we talked. He, his staffer tried to stop me from talking to him. He knew he had to fix that. He talked to me. I can't run away from that. That's a fact. And I think we do, just very briefly, I didn't want to go
here. That is impressive. Most politicians would not do that.
Most would not. It was a poorly run campaign. You can't, of course it was, because he didn't win. You have to call it what it is. He did not get into the top two. Poorly run right away. Why was it poorly run? You said it. didn't show up on enough, didn't come to you, didn't take every chance to be heard from. Look, if he's only sleeping 4 hours a day and can run the sheriff's department and run a campaign, you got to go all in for both. You just got to do it. It's unfortunate that wasn't the case. A lot of the talking points seemed a little structured, or they seemed a little scripted. He started talking about globalism in an interview with Lila Rose, and it seemed a little like, okay, if I just say the right words. I think he wasn't allowed to be himself. He should have just done that. The other thing too, I think the BLM thing was ridiculous, but he needed to just like set up right there and say, this is what happened. There was a lot of not talking about it.
That's what I said too. If Sheriff Bianco would have
just tell us what happened.
And it seemed like the right thing to do at the moment. Looking back on it,
that's exactly what I see. I would have done, I don't know what I would have done, but this idea, it's totally not true that this guy, kowtowed to BLM. That's absolutely not true. That's total garbage. So then there's nothing wrong with, after the fact to say, I would have stood praying or would have done this. Optically, it didn't look good, but I wanted to save the city. Look, if I look back, and then you could create a campaign issue. Look, I'll do what it takes to save my community, even if it makes me look bad. Look at that. I'm better than Steve already. So that was a problem. There it is. Bad campaign management. That's a real issue. It's so sad. And I think that hurt Governor DeSantis. Well, DeSantis, the other problem is Trump had so much momentum anyway. There was just no getting around that.
Well, and that was the other problem for Sheriff Bianco too.
There.
When Trump came out before the California Republican Convention.
Yes.
Down in San Diego, and actually endorsed Steve Hilton before the convention. The convention that he knew was coming up just a week later, where we were going to be going to a vote. Yeah. I'm a delegate. I was there, and we were going to decide who we as a state party were going to endorse in the governor's race.
You know what?
And Bianco was the clear lead amongst all of us. And
yeah,
then
he was.
This whole thing happened with the endorsement, and all of a sudden everything just went boop.
Yeah,
because we were all like, well, son of a bitch, what do we do now? Our president, who we love and support, and are so great, and we worked so hard to get him there and to get the state of California to turn out the vote for him. We worked so hard, and now he's turned around and endorsed the guy that we're not wanting to endorse.
Yeah,
what do we do?
There's so much I want to explore with that. I really appreciate we're taking a little more time on this. That I think was another part of the campaign failure. This has been a big issue. If you're talking to more of the establishment or accommodationist consultant houses, and I guess Bianco hired them, they want to just stay away from Trump. Don't talk about Trump one way or another. That just doesn't work. Hilton, he found that right balance and took advantage of it. I don't know how you have to figure out how you allow Trump to be part of the team, but that you don't allow him to drag down the ticket too. That's an extremely difficult argument to make. I think it can be done. It takes time, it takes energy, and it takes a smart consultant or campaign team. We don't have one in California, clearly, because we see Republicans continue to lose ground. But this is the larger heartbreak, I have to say, about Trump stepping in, endorsing Hilton after, majority of central committees, but the legislators, the state senators, the grassroots, the California Republican Assembly, we endorse Bianco. And then Trump just pushes it all aside and says, I'm going with Hilton. It's kind of deflating for the grassroots community here in California. So we just sit out, not do anything. Okay, Trump makes the decisions. I'm not going to do anything. That's not good. There needed to be a better connection. But this brings a larger issue beyond even that, which is California has been a no man's land since George W. Bush lost in 2004. And you know what? If I was an RNC operative, I would be doing the same thing. I said, California, we're not going to waste our time. You figure you out. We're going to try to win federally where we can win. And that's the problem we're going to face. So I can't stress this enough. It is frustrating. Trump is the boss. I wrote about that. And sometimes the boss is going to make a decision I don't like. He chose Hilton. Oh, well, I just got to go with it. Tough. And it sucks.
And that's what they did.
Yeah.
And even then, there weren't enough to get at least a minimum of 60% of the vote at that one day, one time, one vote. We had one shot, and we couldn't get Bianco 60%. support. So we did not endorse either candidate. And that was an embarrassment. That made us look even worse because the media just went and had a field day with that. Even the Republican Party doesn't like their own Republican candidates in California. And they did everything that I said they were going to do. We should have done a dual endorsement, because I think before that, it was all about we're realizing Bianco is the guy, and that's when we're getting behind. Steve Hilton, we loved you on Fox. I watched his show every Sunday night. I DVR'd it, so I didn't miss it. I really liked it. But then I see some earlier shows and some other stuff with Gavin Newsom's wife and so on. Turns out they're all buddy. And I'm like, wait, what? I didn't see that show. That was before I started watching it. Dang it. That sucks. Dang it. Why did he do that? Who is this guy really? That's when I started questioning. But
this brings up another issue that I gotta like really push through, because I don't want to lose this.
Right.
We need like an alpha dog in California that will get the establishment, that will get the grassroots, that will get everybody in line and say, this is what we're doing. This is the plan. You don't like everything I'm doing. I don't like everything you're doing, but this is it. But they're an enforcement mechanism, a party boss. Now, Trump is that boss, but if you're going to be the boss, I would have to say he needs to do more in California. I want to see, is he sitting down with real decision makers and politicos? What are some other congressional seats we can win? Where can we make some movement here? Sitting down, getting involved more, not just giving an endorsement to Corinne Rankin, but pulling her aside and saying, I want X, Y, and Z, and then you can get my endorsement. If I don't see A, B, and C by the time your term ends, then I'm going to endorse someone else. That kind of discussion needs to start happening. And I don't think it's happening right now. Trump just makes an endorsement.
No, I agree.
Let me wrap it up.
Let
me wrap this up. It can't just be, I'm going to make an endorsement and then I win and then I look good. It has to be follow through. Are there any results? Do I see any accomplishment? And then follow up if it doesn't happen. That's what needs to start happening now. And that's a bridge that needs to be crossed. If we need an Elon Musk, if we need 4 Elon Musk, this is what happened in Colorado. 4 leftists came together, they plotted, they took the state over. We need that kind of top-down leadership right now. I hate to say it, I want to be the grassroots guy. I want the grassroots to win, but somebody's got to be at the top and say, you win, you lose. You're not always going to like it. And most importantly, look, if it's a more liberal leadership, at least you better win. If you're winning elections and flipping seats, then I'll acquiesce a little. But like in LA County, they had liberal leadership that shut down grassroots and they still lost elections. You don't command any respect. If you want to be the boss, you got to be winning elections. And Trump has been doing that. So he's in a position, but he's got to start doing that.
California has not.
Yeah.
California has not been doing that. And the leadership is dismal, but who's to blame for that ultimately?
Yeah. And that comes to delegates, voters. Well, we did everything we could to get Morell in. I hope that there's a plan to get someone, maybe Jack Guerrero, get the word out there, the guy who's currently state treasurer, who knows? But there has to be a real plan and not just complaints and going to committee or, grassroots meetings and saying the state party sucks and then we don't do anything. So I haven't heard a real plan yet with real money. And that's the other thing.
Here's my theory, Arthur. I do believe that President Trump is waiting. Now, I want to believe this. And so see what you think about this theory. He's taken more of a hands off. He's pushing whatever everyone else thinks is shiny. And which is what Californians do. Steve Hilton, he was a TV star. I'm going to vote for him. He's so cute. Look at him. I just love it. Oh, he's got a beard now. That's adorable. I'm going to vote for him. That's how vacuous we are for the most part. Unfortunately, in the majority. That's the Republican Party I'm talking about. I think that President Trump has got some things in place and has got some investigations going. And with Nick Shirley exposing so much, and then watching the Democrats in a emergency session putting together this bill to stop Nick Shirley Act, to push all that through, to shut us all up and to shut us down, even arrest us and fine us for daring to expose fraud. It's insane. And people aren't rising up and screaming about that. I don't get it. So I think that President Trump realizes, yes, we are vitally important, because as California goes, so goes the rest of the nation. This state collapses financially, which I don't know what's propping us up at this point other than federal dollars during the Biden administration. That's the only thing that's kept us from absolutely tanking. Bailouts from the feds. Well, those bailouts have ended now. And there's even more that need to come to a close. We need to be taking care of our own stuff instead of daddy government fed bailing us out all the time for our own stupid decisions. I think that President Trump is leaving us to our own demise. I really do.
And that's
this election cycle, seeing what they did to Spencer Pratt down in Los Angeles, the fraud, the cheating going on there. Ramen noodles, suddenly Wade destined third, suddenly overtakes Pratt just with a few ballot drops.
Yeah.
It's completely blatant fraud.
There's no better example of Trump allowing California to embrace its own demise than what happened in Los Angeles.
Yes.
This is something I've been exploring not once but twice in the last few weeks. It is,
but he can't let us fail, though, because if we fail, we're going to adversely affect the rest of the country.
So you've got
it's a fine line thing, isn't it?
So you've got the election that happened where Spencer Pratt was dynamic, bold, articulate. A lot like Steve Hilton. They shared a lot in common. I think that Spencer Pratt had a perfect message. He didn't hate on Trump. He didn't say one thing or another. He talked about real policy positions like, I'm going to work with ICE. We got to get these criminal illegals out of here. We got to get the homeless out of here. Don't waste my time on all this other culture fluff. Don't waste my time on the anti-Trump stuff. We've got to get LA back in order. Let's get back to basics. Let's cut the crap. Bill Maher liked the guy. Okay, and Bill Maher is like a really hardcore liberal. He can say that he's more common sense, but he's still a hardcore liberal. He had him on the show. He gave him a chance. And then we see him go down in flames, figuratively. Sad to say it. Voter fraud, voter apathy, and the other problem is the Democratic Socialists of America. They are organized. They are a threat. They are a fifth column. They are a third rail now in LA politics. Democratic Socialists of America, they're just one step away from communist. That's what they've said. The goal is communism. They have moved and they are pushing hard. They have 4 members, 4 on that city council are card-carrying DSA members, including Mr. Hugo Soto Martinez, who defeated an uber-liberal incumbent. This was 4 years ago, and he just won his re-election bid by double digits. This is a problem. They have organized like nobody's business. They are out organizing the county Democratic Party. They've got money from some. They've got the money. They've got the organization. They've got the college kids who still live in their mommy's basement. They have the administrators. They have the labor unions. I saw all of this when I was at Tom Steyer's last rally at LA Trade.
You actually went to one of those.
I went to one of those. If you don't mind, I got to backtrack a little bit. This was May 31st because it was the Sunday before Election Day. I went to 2 rallies. I might have talked about this, but so briefly. I went to Tom Steyer's last rally, and this guy was trying to put on the Bernie bro, bromance with everybody. You had some of the key speakers at the event who were trying to reconcile. They're supporting a billionaire, even though they've been trashing and eating billionaires. They said, feed the poor, eat the rich. That is their mantra. And here they have a billionaire who says, I'm a Bernie bro. I want to be your guy. I'm going to give away all my money. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure, California gives away all of its money to prop you up. Unions were there. The college kids were there. You had the ethnic lobbies. You had the LGBT all in force. And yet it was so interesting. This was maybe about 200 people were there. Okay. I'm being generous. And
that was it?
Yeah, it was pretty small. You saw patches of green. It was smaller than expected. Part of it was outside and it was pretty hot for, a late May day. Now,
those old hippies, it was just too much for them to go out into that heat.
And hippie boomers were there too. The people still living in the past, wanting the tie-dye utopia that they were.
I'm reliving my youth. Yay! Down with everything.
I've seen those hippie boomers. It's a real thing. A literal hippie. I saw in Culver City. It's creepy stuff. From there, I hightailed it down to Long Beach, California. This was politically smart. It was politically astute. I gotta recognize, cleverness when we see it. Javier Becerra, he set up his event. That was his final rally right there in Long Beach, where every union that matters is there. It's close to the ocean. He was inside at the convention center. It was nice and cool. Every seat was taken. You had widespread interests represented there, not just unions, but Planned Murderhood was there, everything. I was able to talk to people. One guy was telling me.
Did you say Planned Murderhood?
Murderhood. That's what they are.
I've never heard that. That's brilliant. I like that.
That's what they are. That's what they should be. That's what they need to be exposed to. Every one of them in jail. Now, there's Becerra. He shows up, he's down to, he's got a whole bunch of endorsements. He has legislators. He's got local officials. He had the Speaker of the State Assembly, Robert Rivas, showed up, the Speaker Pro Tem, Josh Lowenthal, who represents Long Beach. Everybody showed up. You see, he gets all this camaraderie. He was smart about it. He knew where to connect. Everybody was there. Becerra talked about, single payer. He talked about, so he knew how to straddle the line, really make nice with some of the Bernie people, but not be too crazy. So all the corporations pour the money in. He literally came out and said, we got to keep Chevron here. We need Chevron. He completely betrayed the progressives in this state. And most of the Democrats are going to let him do it because they knew they needed to get behind somebody. Up until June 2nd, nobody knew what was going to happen.
And the floor had dropped out for Swalwell.
There you go.
I said then Becerra's going to be it.
Wow, you called it. That was brilliant. You called it. You saw it. I was hoping for anything at the last minute. That Bianco would win. Maybe the top two. Maybe the polling is wrong, but Becerra, he has embraced the corporate stuff. He's talked about single payer. I know he's not going to do it. He's tied in with the unions. He's also Hispanic, and he can tie into all the ethnic stuff. He is able to wrap it up. And most importantly, he had a record, not just as an elected official, but doling out the money to the interests. You can be the billionaire of billionaires, but you're not the one who used the government to fund everything. At the end of the day, Democrats want their machinery to be well-oiled with government money. They don't want a billionaire who gives his money. They want structural handouts. Becerra wins. That's what happened. We'll see. And I'm not optimistic. The polling, Becerra's 55 and Hilton's 33 already. Nobody's talking about the governor's race anymore. Like you said, it's all about the primary. So big disappointment there. We needed 2 Republicans. Some of the polling suggested it. I'm the first one I could admit it. I thought the polling was wrong. Well, it was right. Okay, I can acknowledge it. I hoped I was wrong. We thought that, hey, there's a chance for Bianco. We should ignore the polls. But where we're at is, and I thought, Trump's endorsement doesn't matter. No, it did matter. I was wrong. It did matter. I thought we could run against it. That's what politicking is all about. You go against the grain. You go against hope. You get behind your guy. If he doesn't make it, he doesn't make it. I play by the rules. I'm a team player. Hilton, I'm going to vote for. Okay, that's the way it is. But, that setback is a problem because Hilton's not going to make it, as far as I can tell, unless something big happens and, Becerra's in dead with a dead girl or a live boy.
Sheriff Bianco had an actual chance of becoming governor of California. Steve Hilton, love him or hate him, does not. And when I say that, it angers so many people who are all Hilton fans and in the Hilton corner on the right with me. They get upset about it. But I've explained it very carefully. Here's why he will not win against Javier Becerra. First, the Hispanic vote. You're absolutely right. Anybody with the right skin color and the right last name wins in California. Love it or hate it, that's how it is, especially when we have millions of illegals who are voting. Guess what's going to happen? The other reason is we don't, as a state, as a population, I'm talking as a media guy now. I look at demographics, I look at trends and societal trends and so on, because you got to examine what format are you going to go after, what people group are you going to go after, who's not being super served, that you can take some of them and turn them into an audience, which turns into advertising dollars. It's always about the money and the media. Steve Hilton was great on television, but then when you see him in person, he's short. He's very short. Love it or hate it. You can get angry at me for saying this. No, Hilton's different. No, he isn't. California does not vote for short men for governor. Period. We don't. We haven't for
never
decades.
thought about. Okay.
We don't vote for short men. And that's why in the debates, when they were up there with Tom Steyer and so on, they kept putting Hilton, sandwiching him in between the taller ones. That was not an accident. That was a media thing. They wanted to accentuate, this guy's short. He's really short. And Californians don't vote for short men for governor. They will other offices, but not governor.
I'm looking it up right now. Schwarzenegger was 6'2", Jerry Brown 5'11". I think that they're both taller than Hilton. That's an interesting observation.
Like at least 6'2". We just don't vote for short men for governor.
Yikes. That's an issue.
Those are statistics.
So superficial of the voter, but that's the problem.
Of course it is.
And the public safety issue was a real draw. And the thing that got me really excited about Bianco's chances, Democrats openly endorsed him. The sheriff of San Francisco endorsed Bianco. He could have endorsed Becerra. He could have endorsed Porter or Swalwell, but he endorsed Bianco. And I said, can you imagine you could do ads in San Francisco? You just target the Republicans in San Francisco and say, hey, your own sheriff, we have a Democrat. There's a chance. You can vote. You have a chance. That's gone. That is gone. So
that was a huge thing because Arthur's right. They're afraid. They're afraid of their own constituents. They're afraid of their own voters. Look what happened to Scott Wiener when he got accosted this past Saturday in San Francisco at a homo trans pride event and by his own people, accosted because he didn't say the word genocide when describing the Israeli-Gaza conflict.
Yes, this is such a...
didn't use that one word. They freaked out on him.
The DSA is just saturating everything in California. DSA, they made a big attempt at the governor's race this year. Let's not fool ourselves. They may not have endorsed Steyer, but they were really close to getting a foothold in the governor's mansion. What you're talking about there with Scott Wiener, those are DSA, anti-Zionist, communist types rallying. The number one intersectionality issue, it's not trans, it's not LGBT anymore. It's all about Gaza. It's all about the so-called Palestinians. It's the cause, anything that is promoting them, because they are at the very top of the intersectionality oppression hierarchy is the Palestinian cause. How I know this, I've listened to Black activists, progressives, leftists. They go to, or they have their friends are Black. They go to Judea Samaria. The Black people are discriminated against in Judea Samaria and in Gaza. You can look this up. There is a Black quarter in Gaza. It is rigorously segregated. It is one of the most apartheid-like communities is Gaza. You're not hearing about that for some reason. And guess what? And what's even more disgusting and hypocritical is that these DSA acolytes, these aggressive progressives, anti-Zionist types, they excuse the Arabs. They excuse the Palestinians for discriminating against Black people. They let them get away with it. Whatever happened to Black Lives Matter? It's all gone because being a Palestinian, being oppressed by the Zionist imperial Western USA phalanx cause, whatever, makes you the biggest victim in the world, which means you can do anything you want. It's okay to blow up children. It's okay to kill mom and dad. It's okay for Hamas to kill. That's what you're literally looking at. That's what you're seeing. And let's not sugarcoat this part. Why are they going after Scott Wiener? Because he's Jewish. That is a fact.
It is.
He's a Jew.
That's exactly right.
That is why they're targeting him. He could literally put on a swastika. He could wave a Palestine flag. It wouldn't matter. He is Jewish. He is an epitome. He is a living, in their view, breathing representative of everything they hate because he's Jewish. That's exactly what it is. And even there, you saw Scott Wiener smiling because he's in an awful place because he can't play victim because he needs the votes of some of that constituency to win in November. He's running against another Democrat. Republicans didn't make it into the top two in San Francisco. Okay, he's running against a crazy leftist supervisor, an Asian lady. So you have all these different intersectionalities are fighting with each other. And I don't know that lady.
And they're all fighting for Nancy Pelosi's seat, who has stepping down.
And Nancy has weighed in. She endorsed the Asian supervisor. Connie something. I don't know what the last name is. She endorsed
I didn't
her.
know that.
And of course she did, because Scott jumped in and pushed it. He challenged her even while she was still in office before she announced her retirement. But that's why Pelosi knew, because she was going to lose to him, because he's more radical. The Democratic Party, they are being eaten up by the grassroots progressive leftists that they nurtured, that they enabled, that they pandered, that they pat on the heads and said, oh, we love you, we care about you, yes, free Palestine, abolish ICE, we want amnesty. And then they go to Washington and they don't get it done, whether they're in power or not. And the DSA has had enough. They are taking names and they are taking down. They are not, heads are rolling in the Democrat Party. We saw that with Kami Mamdani taking out Cuomo. Cuomo is like the political name for New York. The governor, Andrew Cuomo, his dad was governor, and then Andrew became governor, and then he tries to run for mayor, and he gets stomped on by some 33-year-old pipsqueak who still lives in his father's basement, who never had a real job, but who organizes like nobody's business because of the DSA all the way. That's what we're seeing. And that's what happened in LA. Briefly, to go back to that, Nithya Raman, she is DSA. You can go to the DSA Los Angeles website. They have endorsed Nithya Raman for mayor. They don't. Karen Bass literally went to Cuba and celebrated Fidel Castro. She is a red diaper baby, and yet she is not communistic enough.
She's not communist enough.
Out. It's all over. And you know what? Here's something people don't like my saying this. I have no compassion for Scott Wiener, not one bit. He chose this. He fed this. He built this. He wanted this. As long as the attack dogs were going after someone else, as long as he thought he could hide, and this is something that's so juicy, this is vindicating for us. He can't scream about Trump anymore. It doesn't work. Shouting Trump, 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 I hate Trump, Trump is evil, orange man bad, doesn't protect them. It doesn't help them, because that's what they thought they could get away with. And that's the other thing the DSA they have gotten really smart in this regard. Democrats have been playing them for a patsy, promising all the world, promising the utopia, promising Marxism, and they never deliver it. And they would hide behind, I hate Trump. And the DSA says, we don't care. This is something James Carville picked up on a few weeks ago. He said, they go after Democrats. They go after Democrats more than they do Republicans. They go after them more. They have created their own monster, and I am loving every minute of it.
So am I. I love that they're going next level. What just happened in New York with their primary before their midterm election? Same with California. The freaks came out at night. And the zombie apocalypse is on New York now. Yes. They are stumbling, mumbling, fumbling around. Unable to even open doors, but yet they can all continue to push the communism in New York. They won in overwhelming numbers. They won their primary. Now they have to go to the main election in November. We'll see what happens there, but who's standing up against them? Is anyone talking about anything else other than the Democrat Socialists of America?
Here's the thing about New York City. This is how the DSA is. I got to say clever, because that shows there's like that deviant aspect to it. I don't want to call them smart. They're definitely not wise, but they're clever. They are targeting the bluest of blue seats where Republicans don't have a chance. And so, as you can see, these the Democratic incumbents became so complacent. They became so establishment. AOC got the ball rolling in 2018. She took out Joe Crowley. He was the majority whip. He was in line to be the next Speaker of the House. That's how powerful he was. And some bartender from Westchester took him out. Everybody was paying attention, but not the Democratic establishment. Nancy Pelosi didn't seem to understand. A lot of the leadership, this is a one-off. Well, here we are 8 years later. I drilling down, I wrote about this too. This was my latest on American Thinker. You had Andreo Aspiat. I think the last name is Espilat or Espiat. Okay. He was an illegal alien in this country. And then he got citizenship, and then he ran for Congress, and he was talking about opening the border. If you all remember my good friend Marco Gutierrez, how he became famous, he said, if we don't do something, we're going to have taco trucks on every corner. Well, he was debating Espiat. That was the congressman he was debating. That's how Marco Gutierrez got famous. What's up, guys? God bless you, Marco. Hope to see you again soon. Just want to give a shout out to him. Well, this is pretty vindicating, because Mr. Espiat, he got shut down by Chevalier, one of the three DSAs that was propped up by Mom Donnie. That's what happened right there. Totally taken out. I think it was Chevalier. Maybe I'm getting it wrong. Someone correct me if I'm missing it. But this is what happened. One of the DSA types, and it was a pretty close election. He's gone. He's gone. Nydia Velasquez, born in, first Puerto Rican woman, first Hispanic woman from New York. So she had all the DEI stuff behind her. She ended up quitting. She quit because she knew she was going to get rubbed out. They saw the handwriting on the wall. And what's so devious about this too, Mom Donnie was able to get all the establishment. They all kind of paid lip service. They kissed the ring when he became mayor, thinking that that was going to save them. Espiat was one of them. He kissed the ring. He was at one of his rallies endorsing him after the primary, the New York primary for mayor last year. And then Mamdani, how does he return the favor? He takes him out. And you know what? I'm loving every minute of it. They absolutely deserve this. And it's wonderful to see the Democrat Party eating itself up. Bill Maher has now sounded the alarm and saying Democrats are throwing away this election because all the crazy socialists are getting elected. And this is scaring everybody. We have to be about we have to keep our wits about us. We have to be vigilant because we don't want them to get a critical mass. We don't want the Democrats to win the House, obviously, but this is really hurting their cause. And we've got to take advantage of this.
Why would they fight against Bernie Sanders, who was the clear leader back to 2016? Why would they fight so hard, including cheating against their own party, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and the whole Hillary Clinton thing, turning it around to where Bernie Sanders was literally taken out by his own party?
Yep.
Because they realize that if the socialists really get a foothold like they are now, it's going to destroy the Democrat Party ultimately for good.
Yes,
it's going to completely ruin them. They are trying to disassociate themselves from these socialist freaks. Well, at the same time, they themselves are, if you're honest, socialist freaks.
Yes.
This is ultimately what they want, but they also recognize that the majority of us are finally going to wake up and go, who are these people really? Oh, we see them for who they really are. Now they're being more honest than ever. Trust me, this is what the Democrat Party's been pushing us towards throughout their entire history. And now they're getting it, and they're scared to death because they realize we, the majority of Americans, the silent majority, those of us that have sat back and not really got involved, are now seeing the threat against our democratic, our Republican, they're now seeing the threat against our constitutional republic, which is what we truly are. See, and we're waking up and we're going, wait, what? And they can't hide it anymore. And the media can't shovel over it and try and act like it's not so bad. We're seeing how bad it is in New York now. We're seeing how bad it is here in California, and the rest of the nation's going, we're out. Nope. Even the Democrats. Nope. We're out. We're not going to, we can't do this. This is insane.
You're going to see more of them start to switch parties and become,
we're going to lose everything.
Or become independent. I'm so glad you brought up the Bernie Sanders element. That hostility has never abated. The progressive wing of the Democratic Party, they never forgave the establishment for stealing the election and giving it to crooked Hillary. I know a Green Party guy here. He was a Democrat. He was a Bernie-crat. I interviewed him in 2016. He had Bernie pins all over his shirt. They had a caucus that he met with his fellow grassroots here in Torrance, California, if you can believe that. And he said, I will never vote for Hillary. I hate her. I hate her so much. And I even convinced him to vote for the Republican for state assembly. He didn't vote for Trump, but he voted for the Republican. And the reason why is that the Democrat assembly candidate lied about the Republican. He was an incumbent at the time, the same way that Hillary had lied about Bernie, the same way that Hillary had lied about Trump. He was so angry at the dishonesty. He says, I'm going to vote for the Republican. That's what he did. That outrage has been building for the last 8 years, and they have finally unleashed their fury, and they're taking over the Democrat Party. You've cheated us. You've cheated. You've broken the rules. Michael Moore in 2016, he told everybody, Trump is going to win. You are going to lose the working class vote because you're not listening to them. You guys are caring about all these champagne socialist issues, and you are ignoring the working class. And he was right. They should have listened to Michael Moore. Trump put together a perfect playbook. And there was one issue. I was revisiting some old videos between Bill Maher and Michael Moore on this. And Moore talked about how Obama would go to Flint and then pretend to drink the water, and then he spit it out. You could see him. He barely touched it. Trump went to Flint and he fixed the water problem. That he did something about it. That is a fundamental difference right there. And Michael Moore picked up on it. Says Hillary doesn't care about anybody. She hates normal people. There was some leaked discussion points from her campaign staff that she had to pretend to be nice and pretend to be likable and pretend to be warm and affectionate. She was a horrible person. And it's been downhill since then. Joe Biden, they had to keep him in the basement. He had to be stupid, because he was already losing his faculties. It was the only way he was minimally tolerable. And then, of course, Kamala Harris is like the Brown version of Hillary, completely inarticulate, completely devoid of ideas, and no warmth, no fellow feeling about her. And I know this. I know Democrats. I know Maxine Waters doesn't like. I've talked to there was a friend of a friend who told me Maxine Waters was trying to save an old folks home in Gardena, California, because that's part of her district. She was desperately trying to help her constituents. She really was. I mean, I hate Maxine Waters, but she does bring in the goods. And Kamala Harris was on the call and she wouldn't do a thing. She just blew off Maxine Waters and did not care. And that's when Kamala Harris was the Attorney General. She wouldn't do a thing. She wouldn't lift a finger to help the Japanese Americans at Kiro nursing home so that they could save that home. But Maxine, and so I'm just telling you, even Democrats hated Kamala. Doesn't care about anybody, doesn't serve anybody. This is a big problem. And so DSA is unleashing their wrath. They're taking revenge on the Democratic establishment, and it's working in our favor. I really think it will. We just have to keep our wits about us. We have to be careful even on our side. We've got some crazy wokesters, not just the anti-Israel types, but we've got people. I know you had the guy and he was a pretty good guy on your show, but David Serpa, that guy was talking about nationalizing industries. He was talking about collectivizing stuff. He was talking about it's cheaper for people to live on welfare. He was talking a lot of communistic talking points. It's a fact. I gave you the video.
I've never heard that. You've said that before. I've never heard him say those things.
I'll give you the video. You got to see the video. If I could show you this is very serious.
He would definitely never say anything like that on my show. He
wouldn't. And that's part of the problem.
I would have challenged it. I would have said, wait, what?
Yes, you would have.
Whoa, what?
It's very deceptive. I snuck up on him in January and I confronted this guy and he's like, he wanted to nationalize the oil industry. He literally said that. Yes. And then I confronted him and he's like, well, of course I want to nationalize it because I'm a nationalist. That doesn't make it okay. I mean, give me a break. So here's the good news. Now, this is why it's good news for us and why I brought this up. We have purged these creepies. We've kicked them out. You can see a bunch of these so-called America First types, like in Ohio, some guy named Casey Pooch. He was the America First, really communist, hates Israel, all the other crap. He went down in defeat. Vivek, 84%. He won every county in the primary. And this is a guy I was kind of worried about because, he doesn't exactly fit the Ohio profile, if you know what I mean. I'm sorry, he just doesn't. He's not a Christian and he's of Indian descent. But he is on his way. He's going to win. It's looking really good. And he's better than Mike DeWine for sure. He wants to get rid of the Haitians. He wants to get rid of all the illegals. So I'm giving him a pass. That's fine. We have done a really good job of excising these communistic elements. And they are coming into the Republican Party under the banner of anti-Zionism, of Israel's the problem. This is something I've been exploring now the last couple of days. You look at the DSA, how hateful they are towards Israel, how hateful they are towards Zionism. Look at, again, going back to Scott Wiener, that is the umbrella. That is the cover for bringing communism in. You can go all the way back to Mao Zedong. As soon as he took over in 1949 in China, he was declaring war on Israel as well as Taiwan. And his argument was these are imperialist powers trying to take over and end the communist revolution and bring in those evil capitalists. That's exactly what he said. That is what we're seeing. That's a big part of what this whole anti-Zionist movement, it's communistic at its core. We have gotten rid of it we're getting rid of it in the Republican Party. We're in a really good position here. The Democrats, they're screwed. And look how bad it is. I mean, Alan Dershowitz just became a Republican. That would have never happened. He is like, he's been a libtard Democrat crazy for decades. He went after Meyer Kahan in a debate because he was so opposed to nationalism. He's very much a leftist. he became a Republican. Bill Maher, back to him again, he just said, I'm open to voting for a Republican. 10 years ago, I'm a Democrat. I hate Trump. We need Democrats to win. God bless Michael Moore. He's planning on voting for a Republican in 2028. Democrats know they're in trouble. This is huge. This is damaging for them. And we as Republicans, maybe we need to kind of take a page out of the playbook. We need to target these super red seats and get rid of these lazy, feckless establishment types who talk a good game but don't accomplish anything.
Amen.
We can do this. We can do this. Trump has led the way. We can get this done.
And I think that this is going to be a real tell. This is going to be a real turning point, this 2026 midterm election. We've got to ultimately get our president a super majority, or at least a strong majority in the House and the Senate. We have to. If we do not accomplish that, we are done. We're done. Yep. You think it was bad what they did to President Trump his first time as president number 45? You think it was bad then? Imagine what they will do if they're able to take away our majority in the House and Senate, which we barely have a majority in there. It needs to be stronger. And the rhinos in there need to frickin' go. And that's happening. That's happening. So I'm going to stay optimistic that nationally we're going to be able to give President Trump what he needs to get the job finished, to get it done, to really get us back on a far better track and away from the destruction that they obviously were hell-bent on bringing down on the greatest nation in the history of the world. No better way to bring in your one world government, your new world order, your Star Trek utopia than taking out California, which will take out the United States of America financially, cause collapse, cause chaos. And then you come in and you're going to save the day. The government will save the day. We're going to take care of everything. Just trust us. By the way, we have a mark for you to put on your hand or your forehead if you want to keep buying things. That's where this is all headed. President Trump has been, this is why they've tried to kill him. They've tried to malign him. They've tried to ruin him. They've tried to discourage him. They've done everything they can. They've done everything, including attempted murder, to stop him from actually stopping their one world government plan. That might sound like a conspiracy. If that still sounds like a conspiracy theory to you, then you are absolutely not really paying attention.
You're totally out of touch. Communism, from Karl Marx's manifesto, makes it clear he wants a one world government. It's right there, black and white, clear as crystal. They're not hiding it. They've never hid it. No borders, no wall, sanctuary for all. It's all one world, communistic, satanic government. Karl Marx was a Satanist. He literally wrote a poem praising Satan. This is no joke. Yeah. Saul Alinsky, communist leading activist organizer, dedicated rules for radicals to Lucifer, the first rebel radical. I mean, they're not hiding it, folks. This is a demonic agenda, and they've been attacking faith, family, and freedom from the outset. And this is why these commies need to be stopped. I applaud the RNC. They just released a commercial. They took communist warning, commercials warning about communism from the 50s, and they're now replaying it and connecting it and showing how, look, someone's a communist if they associate with them, if they praise the communist countries, if they advocate their positions. And you're seeing that from Chevalier. You see that from Yvette Clark, I think her name was Clark, the last name who beat one of the other incumbents or took the place of one in New York City. You see that with Mamdani, literally saying we want the warmth of collectivism over rugged individualism. It's almost comical. It's like just the brazen defiance of these people advocating for this stuff so openly. Nithya Raman is in that position in Los Angeles, and I have a very dour prediction. I think she's going to be the next mayor. Karen Bass is going to lose because there's so much anger. She botched, completely ignored the needs of her constituents with the Palisades, the homeless problem. Everything is collapsing. And all the anti-Trump virtue signaling isn't going to cut it anymore. But they don't have a real choice because they kicked out Spencer Pratt by fraud and folly. I think Nithya Raman is going to be the next mayor, and that's going to be pretty scary. I love LA, and to see LA descend into communist chaos is just a tragedy. But you know what? You just, like you said, Trump's idea. All right, you guys destroy yourselves. And then when the wreckage is is cleared, we will start over again. Right out of that page from Ayn Rand's book. I think it's either Atlas Shrugged or Fountainhead. I don't know which. But at the very end, the takers destroy each other, and then the makers say, we'll start over. That's what'll probably have to happen. It's really sad. I mean, I really do love LA. I'm a Torrance guy. I was born in Torrance, but LA is a beautiful city. It's a great place. And for them to have done what they've done is just horrible. But they did it to themselves. I wrote this, 2 weeks ago. LA does not love LA. That's horrible. And you got Harvey Levin, Mr. TMZ, who trashed Spencer Pratt every chance he got, yet he could not back away from the fact that he is a second generation Angelino, and he has seen the city just collapse. And he doesn't get it. You're voting for the wrong people, buddy. You've got to vote for better people. You got to vote for Republicans, or you got to vote for an independent who doesn't hate Trump. And if you won't do that, then you're cutting your own throat. And it's just so sad. But if this is what it takes to get California back on track, so be it.
Unfortunately, we middle class and lower middle class folks are going to be plowed under financially and just in every way. We're going to pay, as far as I'm concerned, the steepest and most severe price for what is coming in California. And for those who have already gotten out, good on you. I probably should have when I had the chance, but family obligations and an elderly mom and my brother dying in 2017, I don't have a choice. There's no one else here to help my 89-year-old mom, which I go to her place at least every couple of weeks, sometimes each week, to take care of yard work and bills and all this kind of stuff. There's nobody else here to help her. So I am here, and I'm having to watch all this happen. I'm having to watch my own fellow Californians make the stupidest, most ridiculous choices they could possibly make, realizing this is going to hurt all of us in the middle class and the lower middle class. I'm a fixed income guy now. I'm that guy that I always said I would never be. That's what I get for saying never. Now I am that guy relying on my Social Security and what savings I have, and I'm losing. Financially, I'm losing. I'm in trouble. I'm hurting. But the Lord sustains me, and he promises he will take care of us. And I'm still eating, and I still have a great place to live, albeit if it weren't for my situation where I'm living and having such an understanding, fantastic landlady. She doesn't watch my show, so don't think I'm sucking up to her. She's just blessed me tremendously ever since my divorce in 2017. I've been living here on this ranch, and it's just been such a blessing because she's only raised the rent one time, and it was only by $50 a month. So that's 8 years now, only getting the rent raised one time. Otherwise, I couldn't continue living here.
Man, you're lucky. We're blessed.
That's how bad it is for us in the middle class and the lower middle class in California. Those poverty level are always going to be taken care of because they got all the freebies set up, because those who have will keep the have-nots to serve them. That's the plan. But we middle class folks who have fought hard and have watched the government come in and steal, kill, and destroy, doing their father's work just as quickly as possible, for his time is short, have ruined us financially, have ruined us, and they've driven us out. They don't want the middle class here. They don't want us here, because we're the ones who come to the realization of the last thing I want is more government involvement in my life. Get out. I'm voting Republican. I'm not going to vote for any more Democrats. Well, we're in the minority, and in our government, we're in the super minority. It is dominated by the left. There is no choice, as far as I see in California, but to get out completely, to move away. And that's why I'm talking to the New California State folks, newcaliforniastate.com. End democracy, restore the republic, because that's the only light I see at the end of the tunnel for my much beloved California. I might be wrong, Arthur, but that's the only light I see right now. Steve Hilton's not going to get it done, not by himself. I watched that happen with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I might sound whiny to you right now, but this is the voice and the face of some desperation for my state. So I'm looking at, we got to split. That's the only opportunity I see right now for me to be able to stay here and help my mom financially. This has to happen because the rest of the state of California, majority, with millions of illegals voting and stealing votes and paying homeless people, which is why now it's so clear why they keep the homeless people where they are, because they can bribe their signature or their vote with a frickin' cigarette.
There you go. That's exactly what's happening. Universal mail-in balloting. Then the homeless get the ballots. The Nithya Raman's team shows up and can scoop up those votes, and it gets her over the finish line into the top 2. That's what it is. And that is fraudulent. I don't care if it's legal. That is just wrong. It's so unethical. In Texas, you cannot pay for a vote. It is illegal now, and it's been upheld by the Fifth Circuit. That's what it is. The paper is just a representation. What really matters is me, a person, making a statement, making a choice. That's what the vote is supposed to represent. That chain of custody is what is so important. And now the chain of custody, it doesn't matter. Anybody can step in, scoop up those votes, scoop up the votes, give everybody a cigarette, buy them a meal, give them some liquor, give them a fentanyl, or a crack pipe, and then they vote. This is what's going on. It's just ugly as all get it. It's just so disgusting.
It is.
It is good though that I'm still here. You're still here. We're still being a light. We're not going to go away. But there has to be. We need some federal help. The president and his successor, and I'm confident that it's going to be a Republican. I really am. I think the Democrat Party is in such free fall now, seeing how they're kicking away their own establishment, they're kicking away the money, and they're scaring the normies, independents, and even Democrats who are not as crazy but haven't gotten the program yet that their party has left them. It's hurting them, and I think it's going to set things up for the long term. But he's got to look at New York, Illinois, and California and come up with a plan, even if it means a federal takeover, maybe a reconstruction plan like what Lincoln did right after winning the Civil War. It might have to be something like that. But these states need to get back in line, and there has to be an authority outside because the voters ain't voting for it.
You're so right. And on that note, you're going to be greatly blessed if you start reading the things that Arthur writes. He's an extraordinary writer, and he's on many different platforms, including Town Hall and American Thinker. And he's just a great gift to me. I'm so glad that I met you a couple of years ago, and we've become friends. And I love having you on the show, and we have some great, fun, lively discussions, and including me confessing about my fear for my future here in the state that I've been in my entire life.
Yes.
So thank you for coming along for this ride. Where do we find you, Arthur? How do we follow what you're doing?
Lots of places. I'm on Town Hall, as I mentioned, American Thinker. American Greatness has given me a platform. 2 Urban Girls. It's a Black-owned news site, but they love my stuff. They've been printing my stuff about LA and California as well. Another site opened up for me. My own blog, Schaper1.blogspot.com. It usually reposts, and I also add comments for local stuff that I don't, isn't going to appeal to a nationwide audience. Those are easy ways to get in touch with me. I'm also on social media, Arthur Schaper, whether it's Facebook or X or Instagram. I'm making more use of the social media too. This is how we start pushing back on the DSA destruction, how we push back on this anti-constitutional craziness. We can win this fight. We got to out-organize the DSA and watch the Democratic Party destroy itself and really ensure we have a constitutional order that wins at the ballot box in November.
Yeah, exactly, buddy. Thank you, my friends. Don't go away. Don't go away. Okay. Stand by. You can help this show. You can financially help this show. You can help me stay on the air because this costs me money. I'm now having to buy my own home Wi-Fi, and I'm incurring more and more expenses to continue doing this show. It hasn't gotten cheaper, and nobody's doing anything for free. And I have to pay if I even want to be on X. I have to pay for several platforms to get my show on. I have to pay for the editing software. I have to pay for. I don't have the money. I'm being so honest with you right now. It actually sucks. I wish I could go, everything's great, and I've got huge viewership, and it has grown considerably, which is exciting. But I can't even get people to hit the like button. Like. It helps with the algorithms. I can't get people to comment down below. That helps with the algorithms. So hopefully you'll be different. You'll at least hit that like button right now. That'd be nice. Thank you for your support. And if you want to help financially, you can at my website, which is charliesimons.com, CharlieSimons.com. If you see some value in what I do, I do 3 to 5 shows per week, which is a whole lot more than most. And then there's my Tuesday night thing with Mike Cook, which is now starting to take off, and that's fun to watch. But it's hard. It's hard because I'm not on YouTube. I'm not on Facebook. That was all deleted. I got deleted off that platform completely. I can't even let those 40,000 people who I used to have following me on Facebook, can't even let them know when I have a new show out. So if you can share these shows, that's a tremendous help on your own social media. And go to my website at charliesimons.com. Get one of these mugs, this big old 15-ounce coffee mug. Let's talk about politics and religion. And there's the show logo on the other side. This is a fun mug, right? I love this mug. I also have shirts and hats and all kinds of stuff, or just ways that you can just give financially if you want to gift me. Buy me some coffee. Buy me a tank of gas. California. It's over $100 now. You think I'm kidding? And they're propping up. No matter what happens with the oil is what, under $70 a barrel now, even with the continuing conflict in Iran, but it's not being reflected in California because they keep raising the taxes. Happy July 1st, they raised the taxes again on every gallon of fuel. It's what they do to make President Trump look bad, and plus they're broke. They want the money anyway, so it's all a benefit to them to continue propping up the price of fuel. And guys like me, got an older vehicle, got to keep it running, can't afford to buy some kind of electric thing that they're trying to force us into, and I wouldn't want one anyway. Keep your Chinese golf cart. No, thank you. The future for California, for those of us who don't have a lot of money, it's kind of bleak right now. So thank you for your support. Thank you for liking this show, and thank you for going to my website if you can, buying yourself one of those products in my merch store, or just making a donation. And may God bless you and keep you. May God bless America. Most importantly, America, bless God.